right? They tend to experiment. They tend to kind of keep themselves entertained until we jump into Magnus. We see him playing a FIDE master from Turkey. It's D4 to start this game. Magnus spending quite a few seconds, so I'm wondering if there are some issues on his end. Most likely he's going to push his c-pawn forward or play the London system. There we go. Magnus magically appears as he does push his c-pawn. Will we see the Nimzo Indian defense? No, we see the Queen's Gambit declined. And Magnus does need to speed up, 30 seconds down.
But he's not chosen in like a weird opening this time. I feel like this is one of the most reasonable openings I've ever seen Magnus play in the first round.
That's true. Maybe he knows his opponent and respects him. Or maybe Magnus, he just got out of bed on the wrong side and decided, okay, I just need to keep things as solid as possible in these early stages. It's one of the main lines of the exchange variation of the Queen's Gambit decline now. Magnus is better, according to the evaluation bar, but a very, very well-known position. Oddly slow, though. I worry for Magnus. He normally has an advantage on the clock already.
Yeah.
This time, roles reversed.
All right. So it looks like he's having some kind of technical issues because he's looking off to the side of the board here. But he's playing a 16-year-old Turkish FIDE master, Yildiz. And Magnus, obviously the favorite, but has spent quite a lot of time on seemingly very normal moves. So let's hope that everything is in order for him.
And there we go. Magnus retreats his bishop after it was attacked. This is a very trendy move. Normally, the white bishop goes the other way back to the edge of the board to maintain some pressure. But this has become quite fashionable, this last move, in recent months. I do think, like Title Tuesday, there's something been happening over the last few months. It's just something about players. They're all becoming a lot stronger. Now in round one, Magnus facing almost a 2,700 player. That would not have been heard of in past years. Often you'd play someone a lot lower rated. So already playing an FM in round one, Magnus cannot take his foot off the pedal too much. There we see the Black King castles. And now the big question for Magnus is how to continue his development. Will he move his queen out? That tends to be one very popular move. Does he develop his knight? Which way is the white king going? You can make an argument for castling either side in these positions. He still keeps his options open. If he castles to the short side, he wants a positional battle. If he goes the other way, to the long side, he wants to throw pawns towards the Black King. And we might see more fireworks. And yeah, definitely distracted Magnus at this early stage. 2 minutes already lost off his clock, and this is still a very well-known position as he castles.
He spent 2 minutes on the most normal opening that he has played in Title Tuesday in a very long time. And the AirPods come out. It's time to concentrate. Magnus, you need to speed up. And here we do see Yildiz, the 16-year-old from Turkey, appear as well. Yeah. And he seems a bit bored. The game has been going pretty slow.
Yeah, I've always found these Queen's Gambit declines quite difficult as well. I think Yildiz is trying to just come up with a plan as he hit the white bishop, which stepped back. Now most likely he's going to try and challenge this bishop, try to trade off to at least kind of clear the board, make it easier to find a plan. But he is 40 seconds up. He needs to keep that advantage over Magnus while he can. There we go. Very slow start to the game. We see Jeffrey Zhong at the top of our screens there. He won in no time. He won in 2 minutes. Magnus had barely made any moves in that time.
All right, but we've got Magnus's face back in the direction of the game. So let's hope he starts speeding up and doesn't have any technical issues. Oh, I always hate when players do this against me, what Magnus just did here, to like really solidify a knight in the middle. And then it's never tempting to take that knight because then your opponent gets another pawn in the very center, very well protected. So it looks like the Turkish 16-year-old is instead trying to attack Magnus's center from the side.
Yeah, that tends to be a good strategy. When someone pushes pawns towards the flank, you try and counter in the center, open up lines. The white king could potentially be a bit weaker now that pawns have stepped forward in front of it. But for now, Magnus has kept everything defended. The queen indirectly defends the pawn in the center. And given time, Magnus will bring his rook across. He'll start throwing even more pawns, potentially towards the black king. Easy plans for white. These positions are quite hard to handle with black. I do worry about Yildiz, who's lost most of his time advantage now. Magnus finally looking locked in.
Oh, and the time advantage disappearing. Magnus and Yildiz playing on opposite sides of the board, perhaps. So this is looking promising as a development when Magnus needs a win in the beginning. We've seen it so many times that it's really difficult to come back from a disappointing result in the first rounds for these favorites. And it also affects your tie breaks quite a bit when we reach the end of the tournament, that what players have you been playing against? And if you lose in the beginning, you get a lot weaker opponents throughout the tournament.
Yeah, I've seen Magnus lose in round 2, I believe, and still win the tournament, but it's so hard. It's an uphill struggle. And yeah, it's kind of putting yourself right up against the wall if you lose this early on. So you need to definitely lock in. Magnus, as we see, he's talking, probably streaming there, his thoughts on the game. He put some pressure on the Black Knight. I don't think he's going to take it. White's bishop is just acting as a bit of an annoyance in the Black camp. These two pieces in Black's half of the board, you kind of get this itch to kick them away. But okay, he's advancing on the other flank, Yildiz, with the kind of 4-pawn barrier here. Which ones are going to step forward? I'm expecting this one in the near future, especially the B pawn, just to kick away the White Knight and ask what it wants to do next. First, he pushes another pawn.
Ooh, and the bar reacts quite a bit to that, is saying that Magnus is much better now after Yildiz's last move.
Oh, that was very slow, and Magnus can now jump in with his knight. There we go. Next move, he's taking the knight off, and he's going to win a pawn. Sneaky knight fork. I don't think Yildiz had it in his vision, his radar, that the White Knight could use this square to attack the Black Queen last move. And this is a big pawn to win for Magnus. Knights against bishops, but the bishops have no open diagonals either. Clear advantage. He's even tempted to take the bishop first and then go and win the pawn, but nope. He sticks to the most obvious way.
Oh, and Magnus has the knight pair against the bishop pair. That's pretty rare, and usually that's an advantage for someone with the bishop pair, but right now we can see that Yildiz's white squared bishop is really just blocked by his own pawns, while Magnus's knights, they're getting to some really nice squares. So maybe this is one of the few occurrences where the knight pair is actually better.
Exactly. I think 90% of the time I would take the bishops over the knights, but this is that's the exception, kind of gray area. It's just the bishops are so bad, especially Black's light squared bishop. Where's it going to go? Got to be careful. If you move it out the way now, ooh, Magnus could win another pawn, opening up an attack against the undefended Black rook at the top of the board. He can win a pawn, hit the queen. Maybe he wants more. There we go. He does take it. Double attack. Rook hanging, queen hanging. Something's got to give. 2 pawns up now.
Magnus is really warming up his tactical skills for this Title Tuesday, which is good. So already now in the first game, finding lots of different tactics. And he only has a minute left, but that should be enough, provided all the advantage he has. But it could go to a time scramble. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's Yildiz's best chance at this point, just to survive, go into kind of all-out defensive mode. Cling on, and try and turn it around. Young players tend to be quite quick on the mouse.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's such a tough position. I think Magnus can, there we go, just slowly start improving his pieces, bring the queen out, lift the rook up the board a bit later on, and it's going to collapse sooner or later. Defending is also hard with no time.
But it's also interesting whether or not Magnus now in Spain has a good enough setup where he has like a good mouse. Is he playing on an iPad? We've seen him do that before. So there could be certain elements here that will reveal themselves to be a problem for him when we think about the time scramble. So I'm excited to see how he handles that.
Ooh, he might not have to handle it after this move. That's a fork. 2 pieces attacked, and there we
Wow.
go. Final blunder from Yildiz, and he resigns.
Well, we were worried in the beginning that Magnus was playing a bit slow, but the chess itself seems to be, there seem to be no problems. So Magnus does get his first point, and we